Okay, boys, so remember when I made a Foxhole lore video? Yeah, I actually didn't know when I'd come out with a sequel or if I even would at all, but then my ADHD kicked in one night and I spent like 2 hours in one night studying the lore of Foxhole, and as a real quick demonstration, here's what that looked like. Huh. Huh. Ooh. Okay. Okay. Oh. Oh. So, let's get started, shall we? Also, before we begin, please check out the first video if you haven't already, because it'll make more sense if you do. Also, like, subscribe, and comment. That'd be very helpful. Okay, thanks, bye. So, I actually have a question for you, dear viewer. When people mention the Great Wars in Foxhole, what do you think of? Do you think of Theomaro leading the Colonial Legion to glory? Do you picture colonials marching over the bulwark? Do you picture Callahan leading his warden armies in defense of the Seavish lands? Well, actually, that last one's not true because Callahan dies like 150 years before the Great Wars begin, but whatever. Now, disclaimer, this is not confirmed. Right now, this is just a theory. But it all begins just after the Valyrian Civil War. As the embers of the Valyrian Civil War have died down, and the bulwark has been completed, the colonials get a bit antsy to spread colonialism to the north. A few years before the Great Wars, engineers from Siva designed the Storm Tank, which will prove over and over again, even to this day, over a century later, how effective it is in combat. The Storm Tank is first recorded during the first skirmishes between Colonial Veli and Warden Siva. Silas Morrow, great-grandfather of Theo Morrow, leads the Colonial Legion to the bulwark. Although it's only rumored, there's a good chance that the O-75A heavy infantry carrier rolled over the first breach in the bulwark alongside Legate Silas Morrow. The Colonial Legion seems unstoppable for the first years of the war, which I predict is around 2 to 4 years. Upon the Colonials reaching of Sunhaven, Silas Morrow is assassinated. Another source says someone with the surname of Morrow assassinates themselves, but this could also just be a conspiracy theory. In my theory, Sunhaven becomes abandoned ward at this time, and the capital of the Warden Empire is moved to Whedon's Row. Also, side note, one of Silas Morrow's family tree branches end up in Terminus later on. And so it begins, the Warden Reconquest. The Warden Empire is able to push the Colonial Legion out of Veli and back into Masaya. However, the war was still raging, just not on the playable map area. These years are known as the Dead Years. It is in these dead years, 3 to 4 generations after Silas Morrow's assassination, that Theo Morrow is born in Tharizo, Terminus. Around the time of Theo Morrow's birth, the Colonials had been pushing the Wardens back through Veli. Theo Morrow is able to lead an insurrection in Thariza, leading the Valian farmers and workers to rise up against their warden occupiers and reclaim the city as colonial. Soon after this, the Colonial Legion would link up with Thariza. As the Colonials begin the long march to the north, Theo Morrow becomes the leader of the Legion's army. During this northward push is when the Lance 25 is developed. Once Thea reaches the bulwark, she is able to siege the city of Brightwall, which is now the Blemish, and able to breach the walls with the help of the Lance 25 tanks in the siege. Soon the Colonials advance north and meet the boreal temperatures head on. As they advance, the Colonials find that their current tanks are just not fit for the job of maneuvering them around mountains and in the boreal temperature. Hence, the H5 hatchet is invented. Realizing that their armored forces are outnumbered by the Colonials, Wardens design a new tank which could be mass-produced, the Devitt series. It is also around this time that the Gallagher and Noble tanks are developed. Also, it's around this time that the HC class is developed under the apprenticeship of designers of the Lance class tanks, based off lessons learned from the H class tanks in Demokratos, Veli. After a good long run, the Colonials are pushed back and are most likely stuck in abandoned ward. After the Colonial retreat, Flood disassembles a Colonial Lance tank to get inspiration for his tank, Flood Mark I. Now, my theory gets a bit interesting here. My theory suggests that this is where the first demos take place. Right now, right after the Boreal Wars end. Legate Theomara returns to Thariza where she dies and is buried during the time of the game. thank you for watching this. I know it was very bite-sized. That was it. If you made it this far into the video, thank you a lot. I appreciate you and you watching my video, especially if you watched it all the way through. A lot of people don't do that, except for the time they did, but a lot of people don't do that, so thank you very much. And see you guys either in the next Foxhole or video, in the next Foxhole video. I have no clue. I'll see you guys.